Today we will dive into the critical issues of the First Amendment, focusing on the right to protest and protection against self-incrimination. First, we explore the harrowing ordeal of FedEx driver DeMontario Gibson, who narrowly escaped a racially motivated attack in Brookhaven, Mississippi. Next, we'll turn to a tense moment during a peaceful march when Brookhaven Police Chief Kenneth Collins confronted protesters over a lack of a permit. This episode is brought to you by News 2 Share and the Batu Sai. This episode provides an in-depth look at these critical moments. Be sure to check the description below and give them the proper credit. FedEx driver DeMontario Gibson was in a life-or-death scenario while on his delivery route in Brookhaven, Mississippi, January 24th, 2022. In the line of duty, two locals fired at him, Gregory Case and his son, Brandon Case. It was unprovoked with racial undertones, evoking the dark ages when many innocent black people fell victims to violence. Even during the attack, when it seemed serious with Mr. Gibson barely escaping death, many saw the reaction by the law enforcement and the courts as inadequate enough to trigger a movement to hold them accountable. Arrested shortly after the attack, the charges brought up against the cases were shockingly lighter than those that had been anticipated for such a serious occurrence. Brandon Case was charged with aggravated assault and a weapons charge, while his father, Gregory, faced a conspiracy charge. To the dismay of local community activists and supporters of Mr. Gibson, both men were released on bond a day after being charged. Missing from the charges, however, was attempted murder, a glaring omission many said made a mockery of justice in light of the crime. For months, the Case family was free, while Mr. Gibson, still traumatized, sought justice. By June 2022, Mr. Gibson rallied with the help of a coalition of supporters from different civil rights groups. This included members of the New Black Panther Party, the original Black Panthers, and the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club. All were using their voice to call for justice in unison. Together, they came to the district attorney's office and the Brookhaven police station. There, they were demanding to meet with the officers behind closed doors to plead for more serious charges against Gregory and Brandon Case. Closed doors lay in wait for them there, however, as the facilities refused to meet with them. Feeling frustrated but not deterred, Mr. Gibson and his supporters resorted to a peaceful march at the shooting site to raise attention on his story and the injustice of his case.
What I need y'all to do is leave the area, okay? Because y'all don't have a protest permit, we need y'all leave, okay? Okay? We don't, wait a minute. Y'all need to leave the area. Hold on, you don't have a protest permit. You don't have a parade permit. Oh, okay. Y'all leave the area for me, okay? All right, that's what I need y'all to do. You good? Everybody good? Yeah. Yeah, we're going anyway. I just need y'all to leave the area. Okay, we were leaving anyway. Yeah, we were just interviewing, checking out what was going on. Thank you. Crime scene. I'm not leaving. Get the Kenny Collins. Get him to leave the area. Get him to leave the area. Hey, leave the area. Everybody needs to leave the area. Y'all don't have to leave the area. We're not protesting. Okay. Y'all don't have a parade permit to occupy the street. Okay. Y'all done got about 3 minutes to leave. We need you to do your job.
3 minutes. Start that count right now, y'all.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Start that count right now.
You just blocked the stereo. You blocked the street. What happened to me? The first time you told me you was going to get justice, it's been 6 months. You still ain't getting no justice. None. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Get it down. Stand up. Why you ain't a Christian bill? Why you ain't? What are you gonna do? You will run your make me.
Yeah, really.
Make me.
Here you go. We got you.
As the crowd gathered at the shooting site, tension was already built up. Mr. Gibson recounted the experience, personally narrating how doing his normal job was attacked and shot at, making him so afraid. The march went peacefully as people came together to support Gibson and demand justice for the racial attacks. However, as the rally was ending and the crowd was dispersing, Brookhaven Police Chief Kenneth Collins, who was flanked by multiple police units, appeared on the scene. Chief Collins confronted the protesters and told them that they had to disperse because they didn't have have a permit to protest. A video taken by one of the protesters captures the situation becoming volatile almost immediately. Collins argued that the group was breaking local law because it didn't have a permit for what he described as a parade. He ordered them to leave immediately, citing the Brookhaven Municipal Code, which requires citizens to get a permit for parades, marches, or any public demonstration being held in city streets or in public spaces.
One person talk. I'm asking a question. In most places you have a sidewalk, so people can assemble peacefully on the sidewalk. Where the sidewalk at? So y'all got to
Well,
that's all we have to y'all.
we're not. We're on the sidewalk.
So where would the sidewalk be at, brother?
These marches still no justice.
First Amendment. If they want to peacefully assemble, where can they do that?
We just want to know what they're doing, so we good. So we good.
If they're on Pentecost,
Sheriff is allowed. The mayor just said we were good.
what if it's who's the sheriff?
Right here. He said we good.
I'll wait for call. So let me ask you a question. There's no sidewalk. We have the right under the First Amendment to peacefully assemble. Nobody did anything wrong. So where would be the sidewalk? We would leave anyway. We pulling out anyway. When they pulled up. Only reason I was talking to them, we would leave, and then you pulled up this force. But when I was looking at people today, nobody, and I got it, but nobody was able to speak with us. But now we get ready to leave.
Everybody show up.
So where can they peacefully assemble? Because there's no sidewalk, but there's somewhere there's a public right of way. Where would that be? We pulled this side. Right, we're blocking no road.
Like, you know, that's going to be the city. So really,
They don't have a permit. So we don't need a permit to peacefully assemble under the Constitution.
They insisted, however, that instead of parading, they were orderly assembling, and that was permissible under the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. They claimed a right to be on the street without a permit, as they exercised their fundamental rights to free speech and peaceful assembly. As noted earlier, the First Amendment states that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, even with reasonable restrictions on when and where and in what manner demonstrations and protests could occur. The protesters did not believe that their particular assembly had violated any permit requirement.
We don't have a permit because he refused.
He keep that Sambo keep denying it.
Because he refused on purpose. Because we was calling him Sambo.
And that's what he is.
What is Sambo? This ain't real. These two racist white men, they tried to
Go get them. Go get them.
You came in our face and you told us, oh, y'all gonna apologize to me, we gonna work it
We
out.
tried to come talk to you. You didn't want to talk to us.
Yeah.
We tried to come talk to you.
Still no justice, bro.
And you did not talk to us.
Big money.
Police said we good. Now you
All right. Everybody come here.
We're talking about the county part of it.
Let me open the road. I'm gonna open the road. Okay. I'll make it happen. How you doing?
Okay, so we need to go right past Brother Kane's house.
They have not a permit to have.
Let's go. We're not having a permit.
Let's go. Everybody in the team go. Let's go. Come on.
Everybody, let's go.
But then he comes over and says we don't have a permit. Under the Constitution, whatever is considered public, we don't need a permit for that. If we were taking to the street, yeah. You understand, brother? We don't have to go.
They locked the door.
Can you tell me what would be public still though?
the thing is, you know what's going on, people that making it's like something will happen. We have to protect you and them. You understand what I'm saying? It's our duty.
But listen to what I'm
To
saying.
bring all of these policemen?
We want to help you, okay?
If we were on a sidewalk,
Now, this is to make it happen, you know? We talk sometimes. Hear me, we talk. Okay,
you got
please?
a card?
I don't have anything with you.
I'm not going to be killing somebody.
What's your name?
My name is Vincent.
Do what y'all got to
With
do.
the sheriff's department?
Yes.
And what's your name?
Vincent.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Okay? Let's make it happen, okay? Let's okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, thank you. If anybody have problem, let me know. I'm going to help you out. Okay?
Things only boiled over between the protesters and Chief Collins when one of them pointed out that after all, they were already preparing to leave even before the police started their assault.
Okay, let's go. But do you understand what I'm saying? Do you have a card for
with these tactics,
No, this was this year.
that's the lady when he was shot at, not
The FedEx driver.
Okay.
That's who that was.
I know the law right here. He knows he's a truth.
right. Well, we're trying to do it. Y'all have a right. We're just trying to do it peacefully. You know, we try to be above, and we're just trying to make it civil.
And actually, we were leaving.
Right.
We wouldn't even been out here. We were leaving, actually.
Right.
That's why we
that's what we're here.
right
You know,
way.
they call us. We're here.
But I'm saying, when these people want to have a demonstration,
Right.
he got shot. He almost lost his life for doing his job.
And I understand that.
He just walked around trying to intimidate them.
Right. Well, you know, that's what I'm saying. We're here for everybody, you know, and that's we don't want y'all to get run over, you know, and vice versa.
We were never in the road. We stayed on the side of the grass, walked down, told us about he reenacted the situation, and we was leaving. We was never in the road. He pulled up.
They asked why the police had felt the need to turn things up, especially when all their protests had been peaceful and non-violent. Chief Collins argued that this team was blocking the highway and needed to leave the place, while the protesters countered that they were staying by the roadside in the grass and were not hindering traffic. Video footage from the event later showed protesters walking along one of the side roads during the march, but appeared mindful of stepping aside for vehicles to pass and avoided any major disruptions to traffic.
They can't stop us being on the road. But because this thing's blocking. We already looked up the laws, everything. It's public right away where we park. There's nobody land. We good. We can walk down, walk back. We just when you step off, you on their property. You know, either side you on somebody's property. We gotta stay in the road. We have to stay in the road. Just get out.
At one point during the standoff, a civilian vehicle drove through the protest area, coming just a few inches away from one of the protesters.
That way they can get Let's go. Y'all came right down to you. Ready? Let's go.
They don't even understand what I'm saying. Hey, so that's the thing. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Everybody come out. Let's go.
The protesters eventually left the scene without further incident, and no arrests were made. In November of 2022, Brandon and Gregory Case were indicted.
This incident only heightened tensions because it seemed to clarify the events that proved the police were out of control. Chief Collins was held accountable for failing to secure the area and failing to de-escalate the situation by dealing with the protesters in a confrontational manner rather than in a de-escalatory one. The protesters took this stride and continued their relatively peaceful demeanor as they argued their right to peaceably assemble. Legally, it was far from clear whether the group was required to obtain a permit to protest in Brookhaven. Local ordinances did require permits for parades or marches in public spaces, defining such events widely enough that the protest technically could have fallen within those categories. The courts also recognize spontaneous protests, especially those that spur up immediately due to an issue or injustice, are often protected under the First Amendment. For instance, in one case, a 1941 Supreme Court established that a compelling requirement for permits on parades and public gatherings must be constitutional regarding the interest of the government on public order and safety. However, in its decisions in other cases, it held that the restrictions on the right to assemble had to be reasonable, and also made it clear that such restrictions could not be allowed to become an instrument of suppressing speech. Among the earliest cases was Robinson v. Coopwood in 1969, wherein a similar scenario occurred in Mississippi, whereby the court had declared requiring a permit for spontaneous protests an unconstitutional restraint on free speech. The decision pointed out that the administration cannot outlaw peaceful gathering because the organizers failed to give prior notice to the concerned authorities. This was the case used in the court which, if it was a spontaneous event and not an organized parade that required a permit if it were held at other times, could have worked in the Brookhaven demonstrators' favor. Anyway, legal technicalities or not, the rally had long since passed without anything else happening. The group walked away from the scene and nobody was arrested. However, the struggle for justice was not going to end this way. In November 2022, months of activism later, Gregory and Brandon Case were indicted with charges for attempted first-degree murder, conspiracy, and shooting into a vehicle. So all seemed to be working in the right direction. However, the judicial battle was far from straightforward. In the last half of August 2023, the mistrial was declared when a Brookhaven police detective made some egregious errors. He had withheld an important videotaped statement by Mr. Gibson from both sides and gave improper testimony about guns found in the Case family's home. These procedural errors were bad enough to require a new trial, scheduled for October 2024. Throughout the process, Chief Kenneth Collins was harshly criticized for the way he handled the entire affair. Tension continued to build as Chief Collins attempted to drive crowds out when all they were doing was exercising First Amendment rights. To most of the citizens, it was unwarranted and incendiary action against citizens simply trying to protest. His personal feelings about the case seem to have clouded his judgment, appearing more concerned with the ability to quiet them than with the larger issue of race violence and justice in Mr. Gibson's case. However, the protesters received mainly praise for their calm and respectful comportment in the heated confrontation. They insisted on holding peaceful assembly and free speech even when local law enforcement blocked them. However, one protester was ostensibly offending to the point of seeming to lie about whether the whole group of protesters had stayed off the road, which must be a misunderstanding rather than an intention to lie. Generally though, the protest was peaceful, with the protesters showing caution to avoid holding up traffic or provoking scenes of violence. But all the drama surrounding the case of DeMontario Gibson is a revelation of deep-seated racial injustices and of how a system doomed at times to fail. Black victims fails to make things easily plain. That's why the Brookhaven protest went further than protest against the shooting of Mr. Gibson, but took a stand for civil rights and for the protection of free speech and peaceful assembly against the killing that happened there. The legal battle is there, very much in the media, but actions by Mr. Gibson and his supporters have focused attention on the pressing need for reform and justice in cases of racially motivated violence. Next, on April 26, 2017, a civil rights activist and a video journalist known by the name Philip Turner was stopped by two deputies from Grayson County Sheriff's Department in Texas. His vehicle had just gone through Grayson County where this incident happened and had been tinned to a darker tint. The deputies who arrested him, Deputy Hanning and Deputy Barker, soon found out that Turner had an outstanding warrant from a 5-year-old speeding ticket he received in the same county. Turner was simply forgetful and had not paid the fine. The warrant had technically cleared 2 years prior when the fine was paid. However, it soon proved to be a fantastic example of how Turner could use his civil rights and legal protections to get him through a traffic stop standing tall for his rights. The entire conversation is recorded by Philip Turner and posted in his YouTube channel, which focuses on police accountability and civil rights advocacy work. Experience he narrates during the traffic stop is very instructional as it throws light on some legal nuances associated with police interactions, especially in the context of a traffic stop where constitutional rights are often in question.
Hey, how are you? Can you roll your window down a little bit more for me? I mean, I can hear you.
That should be good enough.
You roll the window down just a little bit more? I hear you.
I can hear you just
I
fine.
can hear you because of all the traffic.
I can hear you just fine. I'll speak up a little louder so you can hear me.
A little bit for me. Have Deputy Henny, Great County Sheriff's Office.
That's fine.
Did the insurance with you?
Yep. May I ask the reason for the nature of the stop?
I will after you hand me your license and insurance, okay? Can you hand me your driver's license?
On this side here. Traffic noise. If you're worried about the traffic, you're on the same side as the traffic noise, okay?
Yeah, I can't hear you. Roll the window down just a little bit more for me, okay?
You're worried about the traffic noise. You're on the same side of the traffic over there. So I go ahead and get the luxury of you to put my driver's license and my insurance on this side of the window here. Okay?
You want to hand me your driver's license?
No, they're right here.
Why won't you hand me your driver's license?
Because Texas law states I only have to exhibit them. I don't have to hand them over.
Well, you want to hold it out so I can get your information?
It's right here. Right against the window here.
Wait, so I can get your information.
I don't want to have to reach over there. I don't want you to say I'm reaching for anything. I want to get my hands where you can see them. Everything right here that you need is right against this window here. And I'm just going to remain silent for the rest of the traffic stop, okay?
In 2023, an amendment to the Texas Penal Code under Section 38.02 reaffirmed this interpretation by making an allowance between providing a driver's license and displaying a driver's license. Although this was an amendment after the date of Turner's encounter, it adds credence to his argument that so long as the license was visible through the window, he was doing enough. Therefore, there was no legal justification for the demand that Deputy Hanning make on Turner to turn over the license, but is one such common practice by officers where during a traffic stop they demand physical possession of documents. As the deputy pressed Turner with question after question as to his speed and how close he was to another vehicle, Turner refused to answer these questions ad infinitum, as he invoked his Fifth Amendment rights and remained silent. The use of the Fifth Amendment would protect any person from being forced in any criminal case to be a witness against themselves. Therefore, Turner was not required to answer any questions that could be used against him in a legal proceeding.
Hey, how are you? You roll your window down a little bit more for me? I mean, I can hear you.
That should be good enough.
You roll the window down just a little bit more? I hear you.
I can hear you just
I
fine.
can't hear you because of all the traffic.
I can hear you just fine. I'll speak up a little louder so you can hear me.
A little bit for me. I'm Deputy Henny, Fred County Sheriff's Office.
That's
Get
fine.
your license, get your insurance with you.
Yep. May I ask the reason for the nature of the stop?
I will after you hand me your license and insurance, okay? You hand me your driver's license?
On this side here. The traffic's noise. If you're worried about the traffic, you're on the same side as the traffic noise, okay?
Yeah, I can't hear you. Roll the window down just a little bit more for me, okay?
You're worried about the traffic noise. You're on the same side as the traffic over there. So I go ahead and get the luxury of you to put my driver's license and my insurance on this side of the window here. Okay?
You want to hand me your driver's license?
No, they're right here.
Why won't you hand me your driver's license?
Because Texas law states I only have to exhibit them. I don't have to hand them over.
Well, you want to hold it out so I can get your information?
It's right here. Right against the window here.
Wait, so I can get your information?
I don't want to have to reach over there. I don't want you to say I'm reaching for anything. I want to keep my hands where you can see them. Everything right here that you need is right against this window here. And I'm just going to remain silent for the rest of the traffic stop, okay?
In the usual order of events for a traffic stop, a police officer will ask a driver seemingly innocuous questions like, "Do you know how fast you were going?" or "How close were you to the car in front of you?" All the officer is trying to do is elicit from the driver admissions that lead to a ticket being issued and potentially criminal charges. He chose to remain silent and remain polite but firm, so he didn't say something which would have incriminated him further in the circumstances. This is based on well-settled jurisprudence of the Supreme Court of the United States of America in Berkmer v. McCarty, 1984, which had ruled that the Miranda rights need not be read to a person when stopping him on suspicion of the offense. Even so, he maintains the right to remain silent and not talk himself into trouble. During the exchange, Turner remained cooperative and chivalrous as deputies pleaded with him for information that he was not legally obligated to reveal. At one point, when he was asked how fast he was driving, Turner replied, "It's on my dash cam," referring to the camera attached to his vehicle. Turner dodged this question with the same answer at least 4 times in the conversation, further cementing the fact that he would not answer questions that could be used against him. Turner's dashcam played a critical role in the interaction because it not only taped the stop, but also served as evidence that he was following the law. When he and Deputy Hanning were discussing his speed or his following distance, Turner explained to the deputy that these topics were matters of record, which he subsequently reviewed himself to place on his YouTube account. With the dash cam as an evidence record of events, Turner could refute the allegations against him and apparently defend himself against false accusations.
Hey, roll that window down a little bit more and I take that tint.
1 second.
Just a little bit more. You don't have to switch the camera up there, that's fine. Just do a couple more inches for me, okay? There you go. Let me hold the camera so you can get the reading.
I see it's 29.7.
29.7. Alright. So, You live up here now? Mr. Turner, you living up here now?
I'm not answering any questions.
Say again?
I'm not answering any questions.
Why don't you want to answer any questions?
Because I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right now.
Okay. All right. You do this all the time? Say again?
I said I can give you a business card after we're finished.
Please? We're done.
We're done?
This is a warning for the traffic stop.
What was the...
Huh?
What was the warning for?
What did I tell you why you recently got pulled over? For following too closely?
I'm not sure you're asking me questions, so I'm not sure if that was the reason why you were pulled me over. So you're asking me if I was following too close, you're asking me how fast I was going.
Yeah.
But I still don't know why you pulled me over.
Because you were following the vehicle in front of you. Too close.
That's all.
Okay? That's why you got pulled over. So you living up in this area now?
I can answer your questions.
All right.
Am I taking your business card?
I don't have any with me. Do you have a business card? I have one of yours?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Can I get your name and badge number?
It's Hanning, number 18.
And your name and badge number?
Parker, 12.
Am I free to go or am I still being detained?
Oh, you're free to go. So where's this at?
And that's how you handle being pulled over by the police. Don't answer questions. Because you answer questions, that's only for them to build evidence that they don't have against you. They think you're speeding, so they're going to ask you if you were speeding. If you say you were speeding, then you just admitted to speeding and you're guilty. So the best thing to do is don't answer questions, remain silent, and let them do all the work.
The relevant legal principles relating to the stop are developed through the deputy's interaction with Turner. It involves the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. The Fourth Amendment protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by requiring that an officer possess some reasonable suspicion or probable cause before stopping a vehicle. In the case of Turner, Deputy Hanning justified the stop as a legitimate traffic stop, citing that Turner was tailgating another vehicle, which is one of the more common traffic infractions that stops are initiated for. Although pretextual stop situations in which police stop a driver under color of a minor violation of traffic laws to investigate other crimes for which the stop was not made are still very controversial. They are legal under US law. The Supreme Court has held consistently that assuming the officer had some legitimate, albeit slight reason for stopping the car and its occupants, pretextual stops do not violate the Fourth Amendment. Warren v. United States, 517 U.S. 348, 1996. But civil rights defenders like Turner argue that such stops disproportionately are used against minorities and would often result in harassment or racial profiling. In Turner's case, although the deputy's stop was preconditioned, it was lawful nonetheless. Deputy Hanning did nothing wrong since asking questions are lawful during a stop to the extent the detention is not unconscionably prolonged. Turner, on the other hand, owed no duty of response and maintained this right superbly throughout detention. Deputy Hanning warned Turner of driving too close and let him go after several minutes of to and fro. Deputies did not issue a citation, and Turner was free to continue on his way. It's unclear if Turner filed any formal complaints after the stop, but he posted the footage on his YouTube channel, where interested viewers in civil rights and police accountability helped circulate it. Turner handling his stop at the traffic very intelligently for the rights of a person in his or her matters with the law enforcement. He remained quite unaware of any such information that would be incriminating against him. He did this by being calm, respectful, and quite knowledgeable about the law. In addition to using a dash cam, he also had knowledge of Texas law, which contributed to his ability to protest deputies' actions in the case, as well as protect himself from possible legal repercussions. Therefore, this is one example in which citizens can stand against the police by exercising their rights even under pressure from policemen. This one fact is a result of the decision that Turner made not to talk and exclude any kind of incriminating information from his responses, which he used in order to come out scot-free from that traffic stop, so his case teaches people how to survive such stops.